Let's go ahead and open up with prayer. We'll go ahead and start the recording.
All brothers remove their head coverings. All sisters pray with their heads covered. And we face the east towards Jerusalem. Our Father, Yahweh, Elohim, the Allah of Abraham, Yashak, and Yaakov. Covenant Father, Elohim of Yahshua, we thank you once again, Yah, for your mercy, Yahweh, for your patience with your servants, Yahweh. For we understand we make mistakes and we fall, Yahweh, and you chasten us as sons. And we thank you, Yahweh, for not treating us as bastards and allowing us to walk in the air or walk in a way that does not bring glory unto you, Yahweh, and to our own destruction, Yahweh. But you have chosen us, Yahweh, to open our eyes and allow us to see the true image of ourselves in the mirrors, Yahweh, and have a true image in the Mashiach that we can follow, Yahweh, so that we can clearly see the error in our ways and have a clear example of which direction to head and the things that we need to work on in our lives, Yahweh. We thank you for the servants around us that help one another, Yahweh, in our times, for we understand when one man walks on his own, if he falls, there's no one to help him up, Yah. So we're thankful, Yahweh, you provided us a body, Yahweh, and allowed us to be part of the body of the Mashiach, Yah. So we ask that you open up your spirit of understanding and allow it to flow freely to the individuals in the room as well as the viewers, Yahweh, that are seeking, Yahweh, that are knocking and asking for you to enter into their lives, Yah. Yah, these things we humbly come before you, and we thank and pray for your holy, humble, anointed Son, Yahshua HaMashiach. Amen.
Shalom, shalom. Welcome to Tuesday Bible study with Israelites Gathering. My name is Giannis and Yasharol. I'm here with my brother Wesley.
Shalom.
And today's lesson is the evil eye. It's called the evil eye. Now, where we're going to begin is we're going to begin mid-story of Yahshua, a man who many know as Jesus, but we're going to begin mid-story with Yahshua. In the middle of all his persecutions for righteousness' sake, this man went around healing, teaching, doing all kinds of great deeds, but for some reason he found himself in the midst of all types of diverse persecutions. And in this script that we're going to begin in, which is Mark chapter 7, we're going to read from Mark chapter 7 verses 1 to 22. We're going to see that he's going to explain part of the reason why he's facing so much persecution, why he's facing so much animosity and rejection, why so many people are against him and he hasn't bruised the reed or broken a flax. So we're going to open up in Mark chapter 7. And let's see, when we get there, begin reading from verse 1.
All right. Mark chapter 7 and verse 1. Then came together unto him the Pharisees and certain of the scribes which came from Jerusalem. And when they saw some of his disciples eat bread with defiled, that is to say, with unwashen hands, they found fault. For the Pharisees and all the Jews, except they wash their hands oft, eat not, holding the tradition of the elders. And when they come from the market, except they wash, they eat not, and many other things there be, which they have received to hold, as the washing of the cups and the pots, brazen vessels, and of tables. Then the Pharisees and scribes asked him, Why walk not your disciples according to the tradition of the elders, but eat bread with unwashen hands?
All right, so in this scene, Yahshua is confronted by Pharisees who have their own traditions of what righteousness is. And when you look at what they're describing here, they're describing a whole lot of outward things. How come they don't wash their hands when they come in? How come these pots aren't washed? I don't see them doing these outward rituals of righteousness. So the underlying fact here is that a lot of what they do, they want it to be seen. They want to receive accolades and praises for the things that they're doing. But Yahshua is going to break down what really matters here. It's not necessarily these cups and these washing and these ceremonies that their elders have done. They're not always in the scriptures, but they've built it up to themselves as this is what righteousness means. So he's going to clear that up. Go ahead.
He answered and said unto them, Well has Isaiah prophesied of you hypocrites, as it is written, this people honors me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. So
the word there they used and call them is hypocrites. And in the Greek, that's G5273. G5273. And that word is hypocrites or hypocrites. So it still keeps the Grecian. So you know that English and Greek is pretty close Romance languages, so to speak. It says an actor under an assumed character, a stage player, figuratively a dissembler, a hypocrite. So hypocrisy has a lot to do with acting. It has a lot to do with trying to do a show. I know some people have their own understandings of what hypocrisy is, but it's the show of it. But knowing that something else is really going on in the heart, there's a deceptive element in that whole thing. Go ahead and continue, Brother West.
Verse 7, Howbeit in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. For laying aside the commandment of Elohim, you hold the tradition of men as the washing of pots and cups, and many other such things you do. And he said unto them, Full well you reject the commandment of Elohim, that you may keep your own tradition. For Moshe said, Honor your father and your mother, and whoso curses father or mother, let him die the death. But you say, if a man shall say to his father or mother, it is Corban, that is to say, a gift, by whatsoever you might be profited by me, he shall be free. And you suffer him no more to do aught for his father or his mother, making the word of Elohim of none effect through your tradition, which you have delivered. And many such things, and many such like things do you.
All right, so what Yahshua pointed out here is that they have certain things that they want to focus on. There's certain elements of the law that they'll uphold while abandoning focus in others. So he's calling them out on their iniquity. That's what iniquity is, unequal. So he's calling them out on this iniquity, and he's going to level the playing field and say, y'all putting yourselves up as an authority figure, but you don't know that y'all have some inward deceit going on in your heart. Because I've seen how you want to do this and persecute those people, but in your own ways, you don't really see that you're wicked and you're evil and there's corruption in your heart.
Question.
Go ahead.
Notice as well that he's addressing them regarding their traditions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's saying you're over here trying to uphold these traditions of, like what you said, outward appearance, pomp and circumstance, instead of focusing on these commandments and keeping these laws that Yahweh gave us.
Mm-hmm.
And then you would have an understanding of how to walk to make the proper decisions that could possibly turn into traditions of
Mm-hmm.
doing things a certain way, which is nothing wrong with that. But if you are not keeping the laws, which is the basis, the backbone of it, you know, your traditions are just going to be vain because you're not even keeping the bare minimum. It's like you're going to have a great church function with all these great things singing to the Lord on Sunday, but you didn't keep his commandment. His commandment is keep the Shabbat, the seventh day.
Indeed. That's true. So just in that, Aki, that just shows that to this day, the Pharisee spirit is manifesting among us. And many will try to say those who keep the law are Pharisees. That's not what Pharisee means. It's the taking up that authority and the pointing of the finger, but no addressing of what's going on inwardly. Complete blindness to the weaknesses of self, and always looking to see and persecute, and the stringent, oppressive mentality toward others, and the hypocrisy is going on within yourself. The act, and you haven't been real with what's going on within.
All right, verse 14. And when he had called all the people unto him, he said unto them, Hearken unto me every one of you, and understand. There's nothing from without a man that entering into him can defile him, but the things which come out of him, those are they that defile the man. If any man have ears to hear, let him hear.
All right, so we realized earlier in the verse 4, they mentioned they don't wash their hands when they eat. And Yahshua's response to that is pretty much saying, nothing going into the man can defile the man, but the things that come out of him, those are that they that defile him. So they're saying, oh, the dirt that's on his hand to go into him and da-da-da-da. And Yahshua's like, listen, that's not what's important here. What's important is what's coming out of you. What kind of fruit is being born from in that's coming out that's causing you to manifest all this kind of uncleanness. And he goes on to expound on that some more.
Verse 17. And when he was entered into the house from the people, his disciples asked him concerning the parable. And he said unto them, Are you so without understanding also? Okay. Do you not perceive that whatsoever thing from without enters into the man, it cannot defile him? Because it enters not into his heart, but into the belly, and goes out into the draught, purging all meats. And he said, That which comes out of the man, that defiles the man. For from within, out of the heart of men, proceeds evil thoughts, adulteries, fornications, murders, thefts, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, lasciviousness, an evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness. All of these things come from within and defile the man.
And that's where we will conclude. So Yahshua went and pointed out the things that really defiled. So they're sitting there worried about, oh, these guys didn't wash their hands. But Yahshua will look within and see he mentioned these fruits from verse 21 to 23. He said, from within the heart of man proceed the evil thoughts, the adulteries, fornications, murders, thefts, covetousness, wickedness, lasciviousness. And there's another concept that he put out right here, which is the evil eye. The evil eye. And mark that in your mental notes, or if you're keeping notes, go ahead and write that down. The evil eye, because that's basically what we're going to expound on in this lesson. What is this evil eye? And how is that the root cause of the corruption that Yahshua is seeing, that he used it in his response to these Pharisees as an effective response to try and silence their talking? What is this evil eye? Is it only something new that was manifested in the New Testament? Or was this a Torah principle as well? Is this in the Old Testament as well? So let's continue. Let's move on to Luke chapter 11, verse 14 to 36. Matthew, Mark, Luke, Luke, chapter 11. And let's look more into this evil eye. And we realize that it's akin to all this corruption. He made it akin to the theft. He made it akin to the covetousness. He made it akin to the fornication and the adulteries. So what about this evil eye are we missing? What about this evil eye have we not paid attention to? Is it a source of a lot of the corruption that we see from day to day?
Luke chapter 11 and verse 14. And he was casting out a devil, and it was dumb. And it came to pass, when the devil was gone out, the dumb spake, and the people wondered. But some of them said, He cast out devils through Beelzebub, the chief of the devils. And others, tempting him, sought of him a sign from heaven. But he, knowing their thoughts, said unto them, Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and a house divided against a house falls. If Satan also be divided against himself, how shall his kingdom stand? Because you say that I cast out devils through Beelzebub. And if I by Beelzebub cast out devils, by whom do your sons cast them out? Therefore shall they be your judges. But if I with the finger of Elohim cast out devils, no doubt the kingdom of Yahweh is come upon you. When a strong man armed keeps his place, his goods are in peace. But when a stronger shall come upon him and overcome him, he takes from him all his armor wherein he trusted and divides his spoils.
All right, so a good insight by what Yahshua is mentioning here. You see that once again, he's come under persecution for doing something good. He casting devils out of people who spent years in bondage to some unclean spirit. He's casting them out, and people are saying he's doing that by the power of a devil. So in the previous chapter, we see he's doing righteousness and they're fighting them. This chapter, he's doing righteousness again and they're fighting them. And he's going to mention now how this evil eye is a factor in when you're doing good, there's some wickedness that doesn't like it. So we can see that jealousy is part of that evil eye category, that whole evil eye concept. There's jealousy there, and then there's wanting to inflict evil, whether it be slander, whether it be backbiting, some type of infliction of evil. Because of that evil eye, you see good being done, and that shows that there's a concept of good and evil in the world. There's just no, you just relative and you just do whatever you want, it's okay as long as you're not hurting anybody. No, there's actual principles of good and evil. And if you want to put that to the test, start trying to do good. Start dedicating your life to doing what's righteous and see how folks try to fight you for that. And then it gets you caught up in your flesh sometimes, because if you respond with an evil eye, they don't like what I'm doing, I'm mad at them now. That's your own evil eye now manifesting in you, and you have to be able to refute that in your own life and not fall victim to it. He didn't go reviling for reviling. They spoke evil to him. He spoke righteousness back unto them.
Verse 23, he that is not with me is against me, and he that gathers not with me scatters. When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walks through dry places seeking rest, and finding none, he says, I will return unto my house whence I came out. And when he comes, he finds it swept and garnished. Then goes he and takes to him 7 other spirits more wicked than himself, and they enter in and dwell there, and the last state of that man is worse than the first. And it came to pass, as he spake these things, a certain woman of the company lifted up her voice, and said unto him, Blessed is the womb that bare you, and the paps which you have sucked. But he said, Yea, rather, blessed are they that hear the word of Elohim and keep it. And when the people were gathered thick together, he began to say, This is an evil generation. They seek a sign, and there shall no sign be given it, but the sign of Jonas the prophet. For as Jonas was a sign unto the Ninevites, so shall also the Son of Man be to this generation. The south shall rise up in the judgment with the men of this generation, and condemn them. For she came from the utmost parts of the earth to hear the wisdom of Solomon, Shlomo, and behold, a greater than Solomon is here.
All right, so now Yahshua is speaking more about his own authority. Now he's speaking, saying that, whenever the strong man is bound, someone greater than him comes and takes all that he has. So he's saying that this old order that y'all are in, where you're getting away with this hypocrisy, that's gonna have to stop. This teaching where you're teaching these people all these outward observances and there's no conversion of the heart. Look, one greater than your teaching has come, and that's all that old stuff that you're doing is going to have to stop. And he's disarming these Pharisees of their authority that they've been exercising over the people with righteousness. But when you have a mental block, when the people around you aren't feeding you with what's truth, you begin to be okay and become complacent in the things that have been corrupt around you. And because they haven't given you the tools to fix it, you don't even know the tools exist. So when something breaks, you're like, man, I don't know that, this is the way it is. If this light has been flickering your whole life on your ceiling, you're gonna grow up thinking, no, that flickering light is part of it. So you go to somebody else's house and you see that light stay on steady. There's something wrong with my house. So Yahshua pretty much showed that one with greater authority is here, and you have to pay attention to it. And who can expound a little more on what that sign of Jonas is? Brother Adon, I suppose you reached for the phone in anxiousness. Go ahead.
All right. Well, my understanding of that, the sign of Jonas he was given instructions, and he chose not to do the instruction. and he received the judgment for that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, his instruction was to deliver the word. That was his job, was to deliver the word to whoever, to the Ninevites. And that's it. Oh yeah, that's all his job was to do. But he didn't deliver the word, and he didn't keep the word. And Yah swallowed him up, and he should have been dead. But Yah spit him out and gave him another chance. And that's it. Either you do the job or you don't. And there's not going to be no great sign that you're going to get. The worst you're going to get is he's going to come swallow you up, allow you to lose that life and come back with the new spiritual life. And I'm talking about as far as your immersion, and that's it. That's the only sign you're gonna get. You're not getting no mountaintop rock lightning shooting down to tell you that you need to repent. Nah, you get the same opportunity everybody else gets.
Thank you for that, brother. Appreciate it. And in addition, how many days did Jonah spend in the belly of the whale, the belly of the fish, the great fish?
Right. You remember? 3 days and 3
3
nights.
days and 3 nights.
3 full days and 3 full nights.
And then he came forth out of the belly of that whale to go and deliver that message unto the people. And Yahshua was pretty much saying that. As soon as he began his ministry, he kept saying to them, look, I'm going to be taken from you in a little while. So he fully understood what his job was. And as we come into an understanding of who Yah is and his role in our lives, you yourself want to come to understand the fullness of Yah's plans for you in life. And if you don't necessarily know, like, Yah's plan for me is to have 4 children and 1 that's special needs so that I can learn to live up to this standard. We don't know exactly what Yah has planned for us. We don't know. Yah's going to make me the deliverer of our people, or Yah's going to make sure that I own my own business, or we don't know. We don't know what it is. But if we don't know the specifics, we need to step back and at least get the broader scope. What have I been doing, my whole life that is a reoccurring theme for me? What have I always found myself fighting against? And sometimes we learn through failure. Like, what is this thing I keep falling at? And can I get the wisdom now to overcome? And when you finally find, when you broaden that scope, you finally find some area where you have some control over, then you say, all right, boom, let me work from here. And then trusting in Yah, you begin to understand and narrow down that this is my purpose. But if you seek first the kingdom of Yah, he starts making it clear to you what role you play. You're not going to walk around and say, I'm a prophet. I know that he's speaking to me. It doesn't have to be all of that. Because sometimes he speaks to us in a dream and purposely make the dream vague. He doesn't say you're going to get up tomorrow and go to that store, you're going to buy the juice and pour the milk. It's not always those instructions. Sometimes it's some weird, vague, very vague instruction. And that's where Yah would like you to be, so that you can use your intellect and deliver yourself out of these issues and use your wisdom to overcome.
Luke chapter 11 and verse 33. No man, when he has lighted a candle, puts it in a secret place, neither under a bushel, but on a candlestick, that they which come in may see the light. The light of the body is the eye. Therefore, when your eye is single, your whole body also is full of light. But when your eye is evil, your body also is full of darkness.
All right, so the light of the body is the eye. When your eye is single, your whole body is full of light. When your eye is full, when your eye is whole, it's full of light. But when your eye is evil, your body is full of darkness. So we know the eye is a tool of perception. We know the eye is a tool of understanding. We observe with our eyes. But me and you could see the same thing and come to different conclusions about what is happening. You could put something on the table and you come back later on, the thing on the table is gone. One person would say, wow, someone actually wanted the $5 because I left it for the house. Another person might say, like, somebody stole my money. So we have to figure out what type of eye and what type of perception are we going to have about our lives, because that's going to cause either light or darkness to dwell within us.
Take heed, therefore, that the light which is in you be not darkness. If your whole body, therefore, be full of light, having no part dark, the whole shall be full of light, as when the bright shining of a candle does give you light.
All right, so it says, take heed that the light within you is not darkness. So that light is the inspiration. That light is the intellect. That light is the goodness of Yah. If you let it be that. But if that inspiration and intellect within you is knowledge of darkness, if that inspiration and intellect within you is wicked and evil, and the perception is bad, it says the whole body is going to be full of darkness. So if your whole body is full of light and having no part dark, the whole shall be full of light and as a bright shining candle. So what we have to do now, that's the end goal. Start trying your best to start removing that darkness, because we all have some proportion of misunderstanding of what's right in our lives. You understand? And what it causes is that when something happens, instead of having the proper mind to adjust a certain thing, it might throw us off course. It might cause us to shrink away. It might cause us to fall into depression, whatever it may be. But we have to have the eyes of perception, the proper perception, especially knowing the Most High that, all right, He presides over every situation. Sometimes we don't have that inspiration. Sometimes we don't have that intellect. So when something happens, we fall into darkness. We feel that there's no hope, and we might even just give up. And we've seen it in these last few weeks. A lot of people decide to give up and take the permanent call out from the job that Yah has called them to do on this earth. That's AWOL. You might not receive your reward if you do that. But you want to make sure that one of the helpful tools that you stay away from that evil eye. And we're going to continue to unfold more about what this evil eye does. What does it manifest and what does it do? Go ahead, brother Yadam.
Well, just looking at that whole concept with the eye being, full of darkness. We've been in that situation before where we've been in such despair, and we have done so much wickedness that we just don't feel that the Most High would even want to deal with us, and we're in complete darkness. But he always gives us a carnal understanding of things so we can understand the spiritual. So when you're in darkness, and you can just stand there in darkness, or you could try to find your way to some light. So if you find yourself in darkness, try to find your way towards light. But if you're in pitch black, you're not going to know which direction is light. Indeed. So you got to proceed with caution. Make sure you're being careful. And when you in pure darkness and you finally get a glimmer of light, you're going to see it. Then you slowly start heading towards that light, and the light gets brighter and brighter. When you are in darkness, you don't stay in darkness, you move towards light. So in life, it's the same situation. No matter what you in, and you find yourself in darkness, you deal with it like you would any carnal situation. Hallelujah. You start moving towards the light. And once you start to see the light, now you can identify the light. And it's the same thing in this book. This light is His word. It's the spirit, the spirit of righteousness and truth. You get a taste of that, and you see a glimmer of that, you're going to know. Indeed. The Most High is going to make sure you have the opportunity to see that. And once you see that, it might be a split second is your opportunity to go towards that light. And if you miss it, you might miss it. You don't know when the next chance is going to come.
Indeed.
So we are in these carnal situations for a reason, so we can understand how to navigate with the light, the spiritually.
Hallelujah. Praise you. And the thing about that is that, we know in our lives we've done evil eye type stuff. We've been jealous of people that's had things that we wanted. We've been covetous where we really want something. And what those things, we've committed fornications. We've committed various types of adultery, whether it be physical or against the Most High. These things corrupt your perception because you start to be okay with it. And what happens now is that when the light shows itself, you hate it because it's showing the things that you've been doing bad. And no one wants to be convicted of any wrongdoing. We love seeing ourselves in a nice, upright light. Right. We love to bask in our self-righteousness, in our good light. But the thing is that the things that cause the evil eye, it causes a corruption in your perception, so that you hate advice, you hate when people trying to do too much good around you. You need a certain level of wickedness. But Yahshua said it: if your whole body therefore be full of light, having no part dark. So at the end of the day, when we see some corruptness, we should be trying our best to push it away. We should be trying our best to sweep it out, because His end goal for us is be ye perfect that I am perfect. Not to say we're gonna always get there, but that's the goal. And if He gives us the vision, and if He removes the evil eye long enough for us to realize, oh, this thing in my life is a bad thing, but hey, I'm human. That's not a good response. Right. Once He's opened our eyes to something that, hey, this is a little bit corrupt. There's no such thing as a little bit corrupt, because you don't want a little bit of poop in your food. Right. You want it all going.
Well, we just read on the Shabbat.
Yeah.
The man known
the
for
apothecary
wisdom and honor.
Yeah.
Is like with a little bit of folly is like the stench of the flies in
their
dead
pocket.
body.
Yeah, it's true. If you're known for if and then when Yah moves you to a place of understanding and righteousness, the little bit of folly that you have is magnified.
Blown up.
It's blown up because now you have he's cleaning up your canvas. You're getting a white canvas, but there's this smudge right here. And he's like, okay, let me wipe it off. And every time he tries to wipe it off, you grab his hand like, no, that's cool. You know, this one can stay. We got to stop doing that. We need to allow him to clean us up and let him do his job and be okay letting go of things. Or else if we hold on to it too tight, it becomes idolatry. And those things contribute to the evil eye. We need to be ready to let go. We need to be ready to surrender our lives unto him. And the things that we love, we need to know that, look, Yah gives, Yah takes away. I was born naked. Naked I came into this world. So anything I've had, he's added unto me. See, a clearer eye will give you that understanding. But if your eye is evil, you get covetous. Like, man, this is mine. I'm about to fight for this. And you know where those type of things go. How many people get hurt? Whose feelings you ignore in the process of trying to hold on to things that you believe are yours. Man, I'm preaching to myself.
Me too. All of them.
God.
The double-edged sword.
Bro, that one burned, bro. That one burned.
I felt chills.
Well, allow yeah.
Man, that one burned, man. You just gotta be ready to let it go sometimes. All right. Let's move on to Matthew chapter 6, and we're gonna begin at verse 19. And you know, Yahshua, that's our big brother. Yahshua is the big brother. Yahshua is the example, you know, and he put it to you plain. But you have to make the decision in your heart. Am I gonna listen, or am I gonna have the evil heart and lean to my own understanding? The scriptures say it, you know. Trust in Yah and lean not to your own understanding, because your understanding is brand new. You just came to the earth. The earth been around way longer than you have. The principles of the earth been around way longer than you have. The elements of wisdom been around way longer than you have. Gravity, if you step outside, you're going to fall to the ground. If you jump from a high height, you're going to hurt yourself. These are laws that existed before you were here. You just learned them the other day. So we have to be ready to accept more and more understanding. And Yahshua came from a place beyond us. He came from the before time, and the more you learn about him, you understand that he was with Yah in the beginning, and Yah made him, and Yah in all things him dwelled. That's the redemption, you know, and he's given us the wisdom to continue here. Matthew chapter 6, we begin at verse.
Just reminded me of that one verse I was trying to remember in Proverbs about Yahweh by wisdom has found
Say it
earth.
louder.
Mm-hmm.
No, I said he just reminded me of Proverbs 3:19 when it says Yahweh by wisdom has founded the earth, by understanding has he established the heavens. It just reminded me of what you're just talking about, you know,
And you,
all of that being established before us, and I think that's a good perspective.
indeed, that's that mind of understanding and wisdom is an everlasting principle. And when we humble ourselves and put away our own will, we'll tap into that. And once you tap into that, you transcend to another level. It's not just regular worldly life anymore. You can see when pitfalls are coming. You can see, this situation don't look right. You know, let me try to avoid this. Let me change my course. Let me pray. Let me meditate. You know, let me try to put away whatever evil is in me so that I can start seeing the situations properly. And in due time, Yah will even empower you to bring peace to a situation instead of having to run from calamity all the time. You become you could be on the offense now and be like, you and you need to stop. And you could actually be a peacemaker. When it says, blessed are the peacemakers. Matthew chapter 6, we begin at verse 19.
All right. Lay not up for yourselves treasures. Lay not up for yourself treasures upon earth, where moth and rust does corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust does corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal.
All right, so he's starting here with worldly riches, and he's telling you, don't put your heart on these things, because they're temporal. They'll go away, and wherever your heart is, wherever your treasure is, that's where your heart is. So if these things can be stolen and can rust and wither away, your heart is in that condition too. So if you put your heart on those things, you're just as vain as anyone else in the world. But he's saying put your trust in heavenly riches, heavenly understandings, where there's no corruption in it. So now you could tap into an essence that's not necessarily here, and it's untouchable. to other people, and no one can corrupt it because it's not here on the earth, and you're knowing what to do to defend it, but it's here in the heavenly realms, spiritual realms.
Let me ask you a question. Would you say that same principle, does it apply to people instead? I mean, too, in a sense, would you say that?
Yes. You know, a lot of times, girlfriends or spouses, marriage, you know, things of that nature. You would love to put your whole heart there, and there's nothing wrong with that. We have a duty in those things. Let husband and wife cleave and become one flesh. But we have to know that, come what may, if something goes wrong here, I have a treasure in the heavens. My trust is in a higher realm where the Most High will give me the inspiration and give me everything that I need. So I'm not relying on my spouse to give me everything that I need. I need to be a whole person trusting in Yah. They need to be a whole person trusting in Yah. And you act as tools in the hands of the Most High. But if we end up idolizing another person, when that person doesn't do our will, we end up upset. We end up mad. And our heart and where we put our trust can end up in a corrupt state. We end up in a movable state. Whereas we need to be immovable as the rock that we trust in, which is Yah.
Gotta come.
Go ahead, brother.
You know, ultimately, it's looking at the gift giver versus the gift.
Mm-hmm.
And he's telling you to put your stock and put your treasure in the gift giver, in his realm, with him. And all the gifts, we love all the gifts, and family, people, friendship, assemblyship, all that is gifts. But you can never put any of that over the gift giver. Mm-hmm. But to put the gift giver above, you got to treat the gifts that you have in your life according to the way he's telling us that we need to handle those gifts that he's given us. Hallelujah. And he's given us a living example in our big brother Yahshua to say this is how you treat with people. Because even what we just read, like the lady said, well, blessed is the paps that did, she's brown nosing. Yahshua's, yeah, that's all nice.
Keep
that's
commandments
true. Though. Now, blessed is those that hear the word and keep the word. Let's keep things in perspective.
That's deep.
These are the gift. My mother is the gift. All that's the gift. But listen, I praise and I'm putting my treasure in the gift giver. Keep these commandments. Mm-hmm. Don't make anybody bigger. This, how they idolize Miriam, the Virgin Mary. She a perpetual virgin, even though he got other brothers. Yeah. Stuff like that. And that's when you put the gifts before the gift giver. Mm-hmm. And as long as you keep that focus, I'm going to keep building up here. And he's telling me I need to treat people with respect and treat people the way I would love to be treated. Then all your gifts will be taken care of. And now you're not, like you said, trying to hold on to something and just getting all your vision is going. You're just going further and further in the darkness.
Yeah. That's the root of where all anxiety comes from. When we put too much trust in the temporal world, and and the thing is that sometimes we don't always realize that the stuff that happened around us ain't always in our control. Right. And you're not going to be able to will it.
It's hard for me, to accept that.
Like if I want this cup to be full, I can't be like, cup be full with all my might. It's going to still stay just like this. And we try to do that in life. And that doesn't work. There's gonna have to be works done. There's gonna have to be manifestation. If it's not Yah's will, this cup gonna stay right where it's at. You're gonna will yourself into anxiety. So start to trust more in the Most High, who's in control of the things that's going on around you. And once we are forced to look, sometimes he'll shake. If he sees that we're looking here and our attention is not on him, he'll say, "Oh, this is what's important to you. This thing knocked the whole cup over. That's what you like." And you're like, "Where's the cup?" And you finally look up and you're like, "Wow, this is what I've been missing my whole life. I'm sorry. I've been avoiding. I've been ignorant. I've been ignoring everything you've done for me. I've had day after day after day after day of blessing and provision and you making a way and saving me from dangers, and I couldn't even stop to give you thanks. And now you're tired of it. Now you're done and you want my attention." And sometimes those falls are the best things that can happen to us in life, because the last thing we want to do is spend our whole lives ignoring, and at the end of the days we're like, "Oh, you real? I didn't know that. If I knew you was real, I would have prayed." Like it's too late. But in his mercy, he causes that big frustration, big ones that knock us off kilter, and then we stop. And the thing is that I realize he has to go to further lengths for men than he does for women. This is the gender bias.
It's gotta get to the head.
You know, maybe it's the way he created women, where he could just tap them and they change their ways. Us, we so stubborn. We always got something to say. We always have a response. We always want to do it our way, and he gotta just like really crack us. And I've seen men go through some deep hurts, and me in my own life go through some deep hurts because we refuse to just stop and find the easier way. We want to dig the river in the hole. You can't dig the whole river. You know how much force is going in that river? It's gonna sweep you away. So we have to know how to ride the waves and work with the Most High. That's what he wants. That's what he created you first and created the woman after you. So he wants your attention. He wants your strengths. He wants your ability to logically get things done. He wants your ability to build these pyramids or whatever it needs to be done. He wants your strength. But I don't want no lion sitting on my couch that's about to devour and eat me and destroy me and drag my name through the mud. If I have a lion sitting on my couch, I want it to be obedient to me. I want it to know how to submit. I want it to know how to go, answer the door politely, come back, get things in the right perspective. I don't want this big aggressive thing that's going to destroy everything and has no order. And that's a lot of times men are like that. We don't want no order. We want it to be our order. And he has to calm that down. And sometimes he got to send us through some rough patches in order for us to learn how to be humble as a child. All right, let me stop lecturing these folks and let's get into this word.
Spirit, bro.
Matthew chapter 6 and verse 21. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. The light of the body is the eye. If therefore your eye be single, your whole body shall be full of light. But if your eye be evil, your whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in you be darkness, how great is that darkness?
All right, so you want your perception and you want the things that are giving you inspiration in life to be part of the light, righteousness. You don't want to be filling yourself with corrupt influences from day to day, whether it be music, whether it be TV, whether it be the people you're around. You can't let that get in, because if those take root within you, you're going to start putting out corrupt fruit. And we talked about the principle of fruit and what fruit is: love, peace, joy. For anyone that wants to know what the fruits of the Spirit are, just go into Galatians chapter 5, and it lists the fruits of wickedness and the fruits of righteousness, the fruits of evil and the fruits of good. All right, so let's move forward and look more into this understanding of that evil eye in Proverbs chapter 23. Proverbs chapter 23. And I hope that the foundation has been laid that the evil eye is a corrupt perception that stops you from seeing things the way Yah would want you to see them. Imagine Yahshua's on the earth and he's healing the sick and he's giving sight to the blind, and these people are perceiving him as a devil, perceiving that he's working with Baphomet or Baal and all those things. So their perception is unrighteous. And he has to be fighting against these people's wicked perception because they're spending too much time in what? Hypocrisy. So even that little bit of hypocrisy they spend time in, because he's not doing things according to the way they want it to be done, he becomes the wrongdoer. And their perception is unrighteous.
That's crazy.
Proverbs chapter 23. And we'll begin at verse 1. And I just want to give a shout out to those joining us online. Sister Terry, Brother D. Sev, and Yafi Yehuda, and all those that commented. Thank you for interaction and the exchange of understanding.
All right, Proverbs chapter 23 and verse 1. When you sit to eat with a ruler, consider diligently what is before you, and put a knife to your throat if you be a man given to appetite. Be not desirous of his dainties, for they are deceitful meat. Labor not to be rich, cease from your own wisdom. Will you set your eyes upon that which is not? For riches certainly make themselves wings, they fly away as an eagle toward heaven. Eat you not the bread of him that has an evil eye, neither desire you his dainty meats.
All right, so there goes that evil eye concept again. Eat you not the bread of him that has an evil eye, neither desire you his dainty meats. So from the beginning of this chapter, we're like, yo, watch these people you sit and eat with. Consider what's before you. Don't take in too quickly everything that people are putting around you, because there might be ulterior motives in there. Why? Because other people have evil eyes as well. So you could have all the greatest intentions, but you don't know that the people in the room want to cut your head off. So he's like, take your time. This is for your protection. But a lot of times, 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, we don't know this. We go headlong into every sort of unrighteousness and wickedness that's under the face of the sun. And we don't know that we're corrupting ourselves, we're being corrupted, and we're causing corruption upon others. And we got to slow down, because there's people that we don't even see that are going to try and capitalize on the fact that we have this evil eye, or on the fact that we're naive. Either one. So if you're in a room of righteous and they see that you have that evil eye because, oh, he's lifting up himself a little bit too much, or he's a boastful one, or this one is quick to anger, they capitalize on that, bait you with anything, because now your ways are temporal. When you have a spiritual understanding, and things in the temporal world become malleable to you, they're lesser, and you don't want to be so easily manipulated. So you need to slow down, submit yourself to Yah, whether you be a righteous or a wicked. Slow down, because Yah needs to make sure that he keeps you in his hedge of protection, because you don't know the evil eye. Because you have people with understanding, but they're using that understanding for unrighteousness, and could be using it to lead you astray and lead themselves astray. Like Soma had a bunch of wisdom, got a bunch of women, and it led him astray to worship other gods at the end of the day. So it says, be not desirous of dainties. Why? Because they are deceitful meat. So something's placed before you for you to ingest, but it's not for your good. It's for your downfall. And we need to be able to discern, when is this for my good, and when is this for my demise. Another aspect of the evil eye, this covetousness for riches. Will you set your eyes upon that which is not? For riches, this is verse 5. For riches certainly make themselves wings. They fly away as an eagle toward heaven. So you're going to labor to be rich, but you don't know that these things are temporal. They don't last forever. It's not an everlasting principle, money. It's paper that a man made at the end of the day. You need to make sure that your soul is in the proper condition. Verse 6, eat you not the bread of him that has an evil eye. Yet you don't know what aspect of the evil eye you're looking at, but it's going to go into it more. What you're looking for when you're seen, when people are perceiving you in an evil way. Yeshua was being perceived in an evil way by these people. So he knew to be cautious. He knew when it was time to show up and when it was time just not to be around these folk, because they don't mean me no well. Verse 7.
All right, verse 7. For as he thinks in his heart, so is he.
All right, as he thinks in his heart, so is he. So it's saying, eat not the bread of him that has an evil eye. So on the outward, he's being generous, he's being nice, he's lifting you up with all these flatteries. But it says, as he thinks in his heart, so is he. So although on the outside, everything looks all pretty and nice, on the inside, there's a whole nother corrupt and deceitful thing going on. Go ahead, brother.
Eat and drink.
No, I mean, Brother Yadon had a comment.
All right.
No, I'm just looking at verse 5. It says, will you set your eyes upon that which is not? For riches make themselves wings. When you look at that Strong's for 3671, it's kanaf again, which is, you know, where your commandments are, where the laws. That was the part of our garments that was supposed to represent the commandments. So it's saying these riches are basically making them have their own laws. They're idolizing themselves because of their riches, thinking that they're going to get to heaven, flying like the adversary of the devil. You know, I want to fly. I want to be like the Most High.
Lifted up in pride.
Right. Because of they're putting all their trust in these riches. And that's why he says, set you not yourself, to go out there to just be rich.
Hallelujah. Thanks for that input, brother. Appreciate that. All right, go ahead in verse 7 again.
Okay. For as he thinks in his heart, so is he. Eat and drink, said he to you, but his heart is not with you. The morsel which you have eaten shall you vomit up and lose your sweet words. Speak not in the ears of a fool, for he will despise the wisdom of your words.
All right, verse 9. Those who may have some understanding on this. Why would a fool despise your wisdom? Why should you not speak in the ears of a fool? Anyone. If I count to 3 and no answer, I'm going to answer it myself. Oh, you got it? All right, go ahead, brother.
All right, I personally would like to hear what Brother Wesley would say.
Oh, I was just gonna say that I mean it's kind of a waste of energy and time. And it's like if someone's not receptive to what you're trying to tell them, it's like casting your pearls before swine.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a like you can't force understanding on people.
Indeed, and what motivation would a fool have to despise when someone's telling them something wise? What motivation would they have? Why would you want to do that? Well, if you look more about what the topic of this thing is, the evil eye, a fool is only concerned with his own way. So you, within yourself, think you helping this brother out. Hey, brother, maybe you shouldn't wash the car today. It might rain. Man, get your... Someone with wisdom would be like, you know what, thanks, man, I appreciate you. I didn't even know it was going to rain. Your 5 o'clock news said a huge thunderstorm is coming. So you're like, thanks. But then you have the fool who loves his own way. He's obsessed with his own thoughts. He's obsessed with his own. So you come acting like you have something better. That's how he's going to look at it. You have something better to tell me. And if you see yourself doing that same thing, you have to check yourself for the evil eye. Like, man, why would I get upset at advice that's supposed to help me? But unknowingly we do that because we've participated in the fruits of the evil. So it's corrupted our perception. That evil eye is gonna get us, and that's the root of a lot of misunderstandings in the world. The other day I had a situation where someone was telling me a story and I was busy, but I was listening, and they telling the story like, man, forget it, you're not even paying attention. Nah, I'm like, no, I'm playing. Nah, forget it. I could have got mad too, like, I wasn't doing nothing. But I was like, you know what? Let me just take the L on that one. For the sake of, they perceived it one way. They could have been like, man, they could have saw this brother's busy, but you don't know what's going on in the heart. You don't know if it's arrogance. You don't know if it's pride that will cause someone to feel ignored, or, there's so many elements. And you don't know that these are the inner workings of the human dynamics, the human exchange from day to day. If someone's perception is off, it has nothing to do with you. So you can't always get mad when someone's response to you ain't the same, because you don't know what they've been through. You don't know who may have corrupted their perception when they were younger. You don't know what kind of abandonment they might be feeling certain times. So these things all play a role, and we as men need to make sure we're understanding, because guess what? At the end of the day, we have to become ministers to our nation, whether it be hurt women, whether it be women of other families, whether it be men that have went through rough things. You have to be able to minister to these things, that have the understanding to know that not everyone's situation is the same, and you can't rely on anger to get you out of these things. Sometimes a lot of things need understanding. And if we start understanding the concept of the evil eye and how perception can cause us to see things completely wrong a lot of times and cause misunderstandings, we'll pull ourselves away and be able to be more of mediators in situations and be able to bring peace to situations instead of always trying to throw our own understanding on everything, because then we're just like everybody else that's running around with no understanding. When we have to transcend all of that and not get involved with civilian matters. We have to be an army of righteousness. Go ahead to verse 10.
All right. Remove not the old landmark, and enter not into the fields of the fatherless. For their Redeemer is mighty, he shall plead their cause with you. Apply your heart unto instruction, and your ears to the words of knowledge. Withhold not correction from the child, for if you beat him with the rod, he shall not die. You shall beat him with the rod, and shall deliver his soul from the grave. My son, if your heart be wise, my heart shall rejoice, even mine.
There you go. So y'all saying, if your heart be wise, verse 15, if your heart be wise, his heart shall rejoice. And then it says up in verse 12, it's asking you, apply your heart to instruction. You want to know how to listen and take advice. That's a good thing. It's not a bad thing to want to know and get understanding. It says apply your heart to instruction, your ears to the words of knowledge. So this can completely turn you away from the unrighteous path you were going to, because now you're listening to what's right. Where before you was chasing everything that was wrong. You was chasing the money. You was chasing this female. You was chasing this honorable position that really had nothing to do with righteousness at all. You was chasing fame and recognition. Once you abandon those things, you can start focusing on the things that matter in the heart, the things that matter in the soul, and see a conversion begin to happen, and the evil eye will begin to get purged out of you, because we're not seeing properly. I can definitely say just last year I wasn't seeing the things I was supposed to be seeing now. And I know that my perception has to change growing up and getting older. I have to see things in a better light, see things in a more wise light so I can make better decisions going forward. So guess what? If I know I have a short amount of time on earth and I have a lot to learn, I want every single moment to be a learning one. I don't want to just sit here and I'm missing out on the understanding I could get. I'm missing out on how effective I can be as a man. I'm missing out on how effective I could be. If it's a female, she's missing out on how effective she could be as a female among family building. You know, the female essence of teaching and how men hear when women speak to them certain types of ways and the power they can have if they're not always being, scorned, because anything can happen, to make people become scornful. But if they turn away from that aspect of the evil eye and perceive things always as an attack, it can be very effective as well. Everything works for the good of those who seek Yah. And if we're seeking Yah, we'll begin to put away these old ways and begin to be more effective in our walk. Any questions? All right, cool. Verse 16.
Yea, my reins shall rejoice when your lips speak right things. Let not your heart envy sinners, but be you in fear of Yahweh all the day long. For surely there's an end of, and your expectation shall not be cut off. Hear you, my son, and be wise, and guide your heart in the way.
Oh man, this is great instruction from your father. Hear you, my son, and be wise, and guide your heart in the way. Verse 17 said, let not your heart envy sinners. Don't be envious with that evil eye, looking at people who are getting ahead, doing the wrong thing. Cast that away. All that type of stuff takes you off their path to a righteous path. You immediately go to a whole different path. You stop being affected by the things other people are doing. That don't mean you gotta hate them. That don't mean you gotta slander them when they doing what they doing. I mean, if it comes time to correct them and it comes in your heart to correct them, of course correct them. But you have your own path to look out to. You don't have to be a Pharisee, you pointing, and your path is messed up itself. You have to make sure that you come off focus on what the envious are doing, because you need to learn what you're supposed to be doing. Go ahead, Baki.
It's like when you have your vision, looking at this gift that they have, whatever material goods that they have, or whatever you perceive. They have a lot of friends. It doesn't always have to be material or money. Whatever it is that you're envying, that you know that you've witnessed with the same eyes is being gained through wickedness, your eyesight is starting to get darker because that material thing that you're looking at is blocking the light, showing you where your eye was a good eye, and it was seeing all the wickedness, and it was like wickedness and material things. But when you focus too much on envying those material things, you starting to darken your eyes and you start making concessions for the wickedness.
Exactly.
Then eventually, because your eyesight is darker, you eventually going to fall because you can't see as well. Just like in the daytime, if the whole floor is lit up, you're not going to be as easy to fall. But if you're out in darkness in the same place, you're more likely to fall. It's only a matter of time.
Indeed. And in that fall, guess what? You might end up doing the same thing that wicked person is doing to get ahead. You don't have to do it that way. Go ahead and continue, Brother West.
All right, I think we was on verse 20.
Yes.
Be not among winebibbers, among riotous eaters of flesh, for the drunkard and the glutton shall come to poverty, and drowsiness shall clothe a man with rags. Hearken unto your father that begat you, and despise not your mother when she is old. Buy the truth and sell it not. Also wisdom and instruction and understanding. The father of the righteous shall greatly rejoice, and he that begets a wise child shall have joy of him. The father and your father and your mother shall be glad, and she that bare you shall rejoice. My son, give me your heart, and let your eyes observe my ways. For a whore is a deep ditch, and a strange woman is a narrow pit. She also lies in wait as for a prey, and increases the transgressors among men. For who hath woe? Woe has sorrow. Who has contentions? Who has babbling? Who has wounds without cause? Who has redness of eyes? They that tarry long at the wine, they that go to seek mixed wine. Look not you upon the wine when it is red, when it gives his color in the cup, when it moves itself aright. At the last it bites like a serpent and stings like an adder. Your eyes shall behold strange women, and your heart shall utter perverse things.
And you see that the focus here now has changed onto things that we use to satisfy ourselves. Verse 20, it says, "Be not among wine bibbers, among riotous eaters of flesh, for the drunkard and the glutton shall come to poverty, and drowsiness shall clothe a man with rags." So these are outward things that we use to satisfy ourselves. Like when we're young, we have a pacifier. And when we're old, those things change. Those things can change to alcohol. Those things can change to weed. Those things can change to cigarettes. Any outward thing that we're using as a crutch to get over when we're supposed to have that inward soundness of mind, full sobriety when it's necessary. The Bible doesn't say there's nothing wrong with drinking wine, but it called it a wine bibber. It says the drunkard and the glutton shall come to poverty, drowsiness. So you getting excessively full, and there's gluttony there. Sometimes people just eat because they want that satisfaction. They're not even really hungry. And that's the same thing as you smoking and you just want to be high all day. And how many people don't got high, they just didn't go to work, they just didn't care anymore. That loss of motivation happens, and that's a real thing. So you have to make sure that you stay in the fullness of your mind. And all these things that we use as crutches, some people it's pills, some people any of these outward crutches. And the scriptures even call it pharmacopoeia or witchcraft, so to speak. These things put you out of your right mind in excess. There's no wrong. People eat all the time. But these outward things that we use as crutches to get over, we have to make sure now that, all right, let me bear the full burden of everything I'm supposed to go through in life and stop trying to practice escapism and not being wholeheartedly in a warrior spirit where I'm supposed to be in my right mind and caught up in drowsiness and despair and things of that nature. All right, so let's move on. Proverbs chapter 28. So we talked about the things that are causing this evil eye and pervert our perception. And we even moved into the gluttony aspect where we're not even motivated by life anymore. We're motivated by things, and these things can become idols. And we don't want these things to become idols in our lives. We want to be able to be like, nah, I don't need all of that. I have Yah wholly and solely.
Proverbs chapter 28 and verse 1. The wicked flee when no man pursues, but the righteous are bold as a lion. For the transgression of a land many are the princes thereof, but by a man of understanding and knowledge the state thereof shall be prolonged. A poor man that oppresseth the poor is like a weeping rain which leaves no food, a sweeping rain which leaves no food. They that forsake the law praise the wicked, but such as keep the law contend with them. Evil men understand not judgment, but they that seek Yahweh understand all things.
All right. Evil men understand not judgment. They that seek Yahweh understand all things. So you seek your creator, the creator of all things. You too shall be given some of that wisdom, some of that insight, some of that intellect to overcome and to gain mastery over that evil eye that's been built up in our fleshly lives as we've been living. They that forsake the law of Yah, we know the law of Yah. We go to Exodus 20, he starts laying it out. Go to all the books of the law, the Torah, Leviticus, Exodus, Deuteronomy, Numbers. Those things lay out how he wants a man to live. They that forsake the law praise the wicked, but such as keep the law contend with them. So at the end of the day, you become an adversary to them because they love their own way. We see that they are proud, they haughty, they're arrogant, and you keeping the law and your way is an abomination to them. But at the same time, the thing happens opposite. Their way is an abomination to you too, because it's going to knock you off your relationship with the Most High. You can't fall for nothing for that.
Proverbs chapter 28 and verse 6. Better is the poor that walks in his uprightness than he that is perverse in his ways, though he be rich. Whoso keeps the law is a wise son, but he that is a companion of riotous men shames his father. He that by usury and unjust gain increases his substance, he shall gather it from him that will pity the poor. He that turns away his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer shall be an abomination.
All right, I hope you're paying attention to that. You turn away your ear from hearing the righteousness of Yah. Yah ain't even trying to hear your prayers anymore.
Verse 10. Whoso causes the righteous to go astray in an evil way, he shall fall himself into his own pit, but the upright shall have good things in possession. The rich man is wise in his own conceit, but the poor that has understanding searches him out. When righteous men do rejoice, there is great glory. But when the wicked rise, a man is hidden. He that covers his sins shall not prosper, but whoso confesses and forsakes them shall have mercy.
He that covers his sin, he that covers his wickedness, he that holds tight to his evil eye shall not prosper. You gotta let go of that evil perception. Anything that even will cloud your perception. You want fullness of understanding, the brightness of the light of Yah all in your life, and you don't want anything to hinder that. Whoso confesses and forsakes his sin, whoso confesses that, okay, I have this evil eye, I've had this covetousness, I've had this undue desire, the lust of the flesh, I've had these things. Let me put them away. Y'all will see that. You confessed it. You didn't even try to hide and be like, nah, I'm good. I don't want your advice. You say you confessed it. Like, y'all, I have this issue. Help me out. He's gonna have mercy. Yah is your loving Father. There's nothing more emboldening than to spend your time knowing Yah's way, and then you say at the end of the day, man, Yahweh loves me. You know, the Most High loves me, and have confidence in that. Because I remember there's a time you say something like that, you feel funny, like maybe he don't really love me like that. maybe he don't really really trying to mess with me like that. But it's a very loving feeling when you know he's on my side. He's gonna help me. Why? Because you did what he asked you to do. You come, you keep your Shabbats, you pray, and in your prayers you're confessing, Yahweh, I messed up right here. I went and, let the tears fall. I wasn't even ashamed. Nah, Yah's gonna fix this issue. I was okay with that. What? Y'all only love women? That's why the church is all you got women in there? No, Yah wants his men to come close to him. He wants that. He wants you to have confidence. Like, no, my sons know I love them. My sons know I'm with them. My sons know I'm going to help deliver them out of their issues. But they also know that I will spank that behind when they get out of line. You understand? Go ahead, brother.
Happy is the man that fears always.
All right, go ahead, brother.
Get information that you're giving out there, but also a lot of people, some of them don't understand that if they are first time listening to something that, they're just themselves, but it's having people in here, let's say that they see worldly so-called blessings. They just realize that, that the enemy can bless too.
Mm-hmm.
So, our brothers and sisters, we all need to understand that, Yahweh, deals with us differently spiritually, and we have to look at that where you don't want to deal with it morally. You deal with it spiritually. Because a lot of people that come in, they can't break it down to them, they realize that blessings are different. If you trust in your money, if you trust, in what the world can give you, then you trust in a level of wickedness, and that's not how Yahweh want to teach his children how to live, You have to keep our eye on Yahweh. So, if you will, maybe that's something else you want to elaborate on that.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Thank you for that insights there, Brother Mikael. I hope and pray everything's going well with y'all. You'll definitely be in our thoughts and prayers. It was definitely an integral part of this ministry. We thank you for all your contribution and everything you've done. Talking about that relationship with Yah and purging that evil eye. We want to make sure that we keep our hearts soft. This is a prayer that Mikael always made sure that he had to keep our hearts soft and malleable. Mm-hmm. And as men, we got to make sure that we're easily entreatable by the soft, still small voice of Yah, so we don't have to chastise us all the time. We want to work alongside him as we move forward in this walk. Go ahead, brother. We'll continue reading.
All right. Proverbs chapter 28 and verse 14. Happy is the man that fears always, but he that hardens his heart shall fall into mischief. Mm-hmm. As a roaring lion and a ranging bear, so is a wicked ruler over the poor people. The prince that wants understanding is also a great oppressor, but he that hates covetousness shall prolong his days. A man that does violence to the blood of any person shall flee to the pit. Let no man stay him. Whoso walks uprightly shall be saved, but he that is perverse in his ways shall fall at once.
All right, so these are laws. These aren't just like religious laws. These are like regular laws of morality in the world. The same way what goes up must come down is a law of physics. A law of morality is that if you spend time in unrighteousness and wickedness, you're going to find yourself being cast out of Yah's sight and presence. There is an element that's watching over all of this. Yah Almighty, the Elohim of Isaac, Jacob, and Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You know, the Elohim of all Yasharal, all Israel. He's watching over the entire world, and he's purging everything that is grievous in his sight. And we want to make sure that we find ourselves in the line of his favor, and not one of those factors that he's rooting out like weeds in a garden. Continue.
He that tills his land shall have plenty of bread, but he that follows after vain persons shall have poverty enough. A faithful man shall abound with blessings, but he that makes haste to be rich shall not be innocent. To have respect of persons is not good, for a piece of bread that man will transgress. He that hastens to be rich has an evil eye.
All right. He that hastens to be rich has an evil eye. So this evil eye is a real factor in this walk. This evil eye is something you need to be aware of, that you have it, other people have it, and it's a factor that affects our day-to-day interactions. And we want to make sure that the brethren around us are purging themselves of the evil eye. You don't want to be looking at things in an evil manner in a place where we're supposed to be protecting righteousness. We're supposed to be protecting sound doctrine. And if you have biases toward money, and you have biases toward looking at things in the wrong precept, then righteousness is not going to be able to go through quickly, because the evil eye is an element that's against truth at the end of the day. It's biased against you. So you could be trying to stand for truth, but the wicked perceptions you have in your own mind are making sure that it's perverted a little bit. You know, just a little ounce of that little smudge, you like it there. Y'all don't want it. He doesn't want it. He wants to make sure that you're working with him to get the place clean and have a sanctuary where he can dwell within you without hindrance. Continue, Aki.
He that hastes to be rich has an evil eye, and considers not that poverty shall come upon him. He that rebukes a man afterwards shall find more favor than he that flatters with his tongue.
Hallelujah.
Whoso robs his father or his mother and says, "It is no transgression," the same is the companion of a destroyer. He that is of a proud heart stirs up strife, but he that puts his trust in Yahweh shall be made fat. He that trusts in his own heart is a fool, but whoso walks wisely, he shall be delivered. He that gives unto the poor shall not lack, but he that hides his eyes shall have many a curse.
All right, so part of the purging of the evil eye is being generous. Says you're not always, it's me, let me protect myself. I want to make sure my bank account is fat. I was like, no, there's poor people out here that need some help. There's people in your own circle that could use some help. But because you always want to have your own and you want your pockets fat, you've been begrudging against the generosity that you could have been doing. You know, and having generosity purges that evil eye that we have, purges the covetousness that we have. It's like, you know what, this money ain't really all for me. You know, it's effective in the hands of others. Go ahead, Aki.
He that gives
No,
un-
I mean,
Yeah, it talks continually about. It's the second time it's talking about hastening to be rich, trying to go after riches. You know, when you're hastening to be rich, you're gonna put everything to get into those riches. You know, whatever, because you're trying to get there fast. Whereas, I gotta trust the Most High and not put that as my number one priority in life, I might not get there as fast. That's my perception. That's what you think. But at the end of the day, he's saying, listen, man, put your confidence, your trust in me, then you're going to be fat in your time, when the time is going to be good to you without causing you to have an evil eye. Because, like you said, you know, you see the poor and the evil eyes turning away from the poor because, you know, I'm trying to keep this money. Yeah. I'm trying to get to a higher financial status faster. And if I give this away, it's going to take me longer to build that up. And that's an evil eye, because your eye is not It's so dark, it's not seeing that the whole reason you in front of this brother is so that your tithe can go to where it was supposed to go.
Indeed.
The poor, the widowless, the father, the widows, the fatherless, the people that need it. But your eye is so evil is because it's been darkened to that gift. That gift that, if I keep this that doesn't belong to me, which we don't understand the concept that everything that I have does not belong to me. We lack that understanding. So that evil eye is continuing that process. Is just causing you to get darker and darker and darker. All the meanwhile, where you're chasing these riches, you're not attaining that. And if he allows you to attain it that way, by doing just all wickedness, then that's like him saying, all right, go ahead and continue. I'm not chastising you. You just continue to the point where you're going to reap what you sow. That's the laws of the universe.
Torah. That's sound admonition, our key. That sound admonition that an evil eye will stop you from being generous. An evil eye will cause you to forsake those that are in need. An evil eye will cause you to be evil at the end of the day. Continue, Brother West.
He that gives unto the poor shall not lack, but he that hides his eyes shall have many a curse. When the wicked rise, men hide themselves, but when they perish, the righteous increase.
All right, so there's a law that if the essence that's presiding over all the world is a righteous Elohim, a righteous creator, all that is manifesting that's wicked is going to be pushed away. He's going to want them to perish. Why? So that the righteousness can increase on the earth and people can live and fulfill that pursuit of satisfaction and satisfaction with the Most High as well. All right. So one of the words that we came across in there is evil eye in verse 22. And the word for evil in Hebrew is H7451, Ra. Ra or Ra'ah. And in Hebrew it's spelled with a resh, which is the R, and the ayin. And Ra'ah is resh, ayin, het. The het is the H sound. And it means bad, evil, disagreeable, malignant, unpleasant, unhappiness, calamity, and distress. And now the I is H5869, ayin, which is the ayin, which is not really in the left, is ayin, which means I. Ayin, yad, noon. Ayin, yad is the Y sound, and noon is the N sound. And it means eye, of a physical eye, as showing mental qualities, and also a spring or a fountain. So an evil spring or an evil fountain, your perception also works what comes out of you. So if you perceive things the wrong way, what comes out of you is going to come out the wrong way. It's all like being drunk. It's all like being intoxicated, because you're going to want to walk forward. When you're drunk and when you're intoxicated, you want to walk in a straight line. It's impossible because your perception is all messed up. The room is twisted in your eyes. It's contorted in your sight. So it's impossible for you to walk that straight line. Nobody ever got so drunk that they fixed the TV. You get drunk and you manifest something unrighteous, but we don't know that you get drunken in your perception as well. You spend so much time around corruption that when it's time for you to make a decision, the decision you make is corrupt, and you have to spend time to step back, ask the Most High, yeah, I'm a corrupted individual. I spent time in corruptness. What can I do to get closer to this purity? Meditating on His word day and night, like it says in Psalms. Meditating on His word day and night, you start cleaning up your mind. Fast, we have a holy day where we fast that day, but fasting is a principle that you could use year round. There's people that fast one day a week. There's people that fast 3 days whenever they feel something's going on. There's people that fast once a month or once every 2 months, or they fast whenever they feel that it's time for me to go through a purging process. I feel like I've been filled up with everything that's wrong. I just want to purge, and fasting does a good, and physically fasting actually helps build the immune system. It makes it more active, but of course nutrition builds the immune system as well. So let's go ahead and move to Sirach. This is apocryphal book that's not in all King James versions. There's some King James versions that have them, but there's a Sefer version as well. But this is Sirach, Ecclesiasticus, chapter 14. And it's going to go a little more into how this evil eye manifests in your day-to-day life. And I want to make sure at the end of this class, you understand that there is an evil perception that we keep in our minds, and we need to work on how to purge it. And you have to search it out and see, how does it manifest in life from day to day? What does it cause? What is the fruit of it? So I could put it away, because if we're ignorant to it, we can't take it out. If you didn't know roaches didn't need to be in your house, you're going to have roaches running around your house. But the day somebody be like, yo, man, you can't have these roaches, man, is not sanitary. Then you say, you know what? If you want to be clean, you go ahead, you get that Raid, and you start putting, or whatever. Some people want natural pesticides. But you do what you do to cleanse your area. So it starts with, blessed is the man that has not slipped with his mouth. Because I know the Sefer.
Chapter 14.
Ecclesiasticus?
Yes, Sirach, Ecclesiasticus.
What verse? Which chapter?
Chapter 14.
Okay, yeah. Sorry.
All right.
All right, Ecclesiasticus, Sirach, chapter 14 and verse 1. Blessed is the man that has not slipped with his mouth and is not pricked with the multitude of sins. Blessed is he whose conscience has not condemned him and who has not fallen from his hope in Yahweh. Riches are not comely for a niggard, and what should an envious man do with money?
So basically what it means there by niggard, to be niggard, Niggardly, to be niggardly, and it's not Sirach with a C, Terry, as in the drink. It's Sirach with a...
She wanted it so bad.
I know, I think she did it on purpose. It's spelled Sirach. Sirach. But what a niggard, Niggard is someone that's miserly, someone that's real cheap. And it says, what is a niggard gonna do with money? And it's gonna expound on what it means by that. And what's an envious man do with money?
Verse 4. He that gathers by defrauding his own soul gathers for others that shall spend his goods riotously. He that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good?
So it's basically saying that he has money, but he's real mean with it. You know, he doesn't go ahead and be generous to folks, and to put aside a portion for savings, maybe, or put aside a portion for his family or whatever. It's just no, this is all mine, and it has an evil eye attached to it. It has aggression attached to it. It has bitterness attached to how what's the opposite of generous, brother? Was I know he the encyclopedia over here.
Miserly?
Yeah, miserly.
Is that a good enough word? Someone who's definitely stingy.
Stingy, real
That's a better
stingy.
word.
But it's affecting your day-to-day life, because certain things require for you to give money here. You're supposed to buy good tires for your car, but you don't want to put that money, and you don't understand the danger in. So what, you buy used tires, and those blow out on you, and your kids are in the car, and your minivan. Spend the money that needs to be spent to handle certain things. Of course, you don't want to be a squanderer where you just freely and frugally, and then at the end of the day, you're a spendthrift on things you didn't even really need. I bought this VCR because it's nostalgia. I bought another VCR for nostalgia. Ain't nobody watching VCR stuff anyway. I bought a VCR DVD. You just buying stuff. I bought a big screen TV case to put my big screen TV in the car when I'm carrying it to work, because I want to watch it on my lunch break. Just stuff you don't really need. Like, dudes find any excuse to buy certain things. Females too, but you don't want to, of course you don't want to be a squanderer of your riches, but at the same time you don't want to be miserly, because sometimes Yah wants you to contribute to certain things, and he can't use you because you're looking at that money with an evil eye, like, I need to save every penny because I'm gonna be a billionaire someday. It don't work like that. At the end of the day, if you look at life, by the time you figure life out, you're on your way out. Life ain't necessarily for you to conquer. It's too short for you to learn everything at the end of the day. It's enough for you to understand what righteousness is. By the time you understand righteousness is, y'all's like, all right, time for you to come home unto me. That's how you need to look at it. It's very short. Sometimes to fulfill the plans you need, it's going to take a lot of years. Your 30-year mortgage, by the time you finish that 30-year mortgage, you might be on your way out of here. You should be you on retirement. So instead of focusing on the stuff that the world is forcing you to look at, start looking at the condition of your soul. You know, you where you are now and where you're going to be in 5 years, a lot of progress can take place in those 5 years if you devote it to a spiritual cause. And of course, a lot can take place in 5 years financially as well. But some of these wealth and riches and stuff was generational. So you envying the wicked and you not know that the wealth they had is old money. And some of it might even be slave money. So don't watch that. The condition of your soul is what's there. Y'all can add riches unto who needs it at any time. It's not going to go anywhere. It's not falling away from you.
Brother, can I add to that?
Go ahead, Aki.
Just something simple. Skip it around a little bit. I mean, a lesson was trying to be told to people all the way back from what we don't deal with that Christmas no more, but the Scrooge character kind of fulfilled that the way when he started to come out and said he had a good job and so forth, but somebody put stuff in his mind, dealing with saving his money. So all the stuff that he loved, dealing with his heart, he pushed to the side because he gave his love to his money. So that's what he called his man on it, like Scrooge. He was a miser. He got some good things for himself, and then after that, he decided he wished to spend all his no money anymore on anything, and then became evil in his heart because his money was his God, was his Elohim. So he never really thought about, as he was in pain for his past life, he lost love and so forth, what he could have done in his life, and then again, he put all his time into his money and his greed, and when he gets to his age, how are you going to enjoy it when you're so old and you enjoy your life anymore? So we say in our book that y'all willing, we going to do this, y'all willing, we can do that, because you don't know if we're going to live the next day or within that hour. But yet, y'all didn't tell you to be a miser. He didn't tell you to, love your money to the point that you're so squeezed so tight that a penny would squeeze. Line that, how you going to get to the poor if you have a family, that you need to take care of first? You think you want to the infidel, if you want to take care of your family first, but you give your money and possessions to other people when your family needs you, So Yahweh has perfect balance. And that's what, we listen to this. The perfect balance of Yahweh on what he allows us to have. But the world teaches you was yours, get yours, Don't worry about the next man. Just make sure you get yours, blessing plans all over the place, but Yahweh talks about, the blessing to keep his commandments, and then you'll allow you to enter their life if you've done that way, and the money that he gives you, become good stewards of that money, so you will have levels of pleasure to enjoy what he gives you, and others can enjoy because you don't clean your finger. They can enjoy, so because you're always at the full. When you put your pleasure into your money, you become your God, and you forget about that. So I want to bring that point up because a lot of folks don't realize that also brings that evil life. Because you forget about people. Love waxes cold. So now you really don't love yourself anymore. You think you love yourself, but you're not. Because you're not showing a correct spirituality, but you should have. That's becoming cold-hearted, self-centered, greedy, and all those things that, Scripture talks about, and envious to what somebody else says. Oh, I don't have enough. Even though you're most needed it, I don't have enough. I need more. I need more than that thing. So that's a lot. We need to think about it, when these scriptures come up. We have to look at ourselves and see, am I that way? And if you see somebody else that way, then you say, okay, well, how can I change myself not to become that way? And if Yahweh allows you, maybe I can impart some of his wisdom, to that person, if he wills. So I just want to bring that point up.
All right. Todah, much appreciated. Wisdom from the elder as well. What came to mind with that, like you mentioned, a lot of people have become very embittered because of this desire for money and this chase, and it causes that aggression. And what y'all's trying to, the reason why y'all spends time ministering to us about the proper perception of money is that he doesn't want it to come into our soul to corrupt us. So he's like, get the money and you could, help somebody out with it, because at the end of the day, I'm really focused on your soul. I'm really focused on how you're developing as a human. He says, bring ye all the tithe in the storehouse, that I might pour out a blessing that you have not room enough to receive it. Shake and press together, all that stuff. And we know that the real tithe went to the poor, the widows, the fatherless. So be generous and don't look at this money as a motivating factor into your development, unless it's for a positive. And the way you can develop with the money in the positive is through generosity and through philanthropic efforts and things of that nature. Go ahead and continue, Aki.
What verse now?
I think 5.
Sirach chapter 14, Ecclesiasticus chapter 14, and we are on verse 5.
All right. He that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? He shall not take pleasure in his goods. There is none worse than he that envies himself, and this is a recompense to his wickedness.
So verse 4 says he gathers by defrauding his own soul, gathers for others that shall spend his good. He that gathers by defrauding his own soul. You see, he stops himself from even enjoying the money that he's getting. He defrauds himself. And at the same time, there's a him being evil to himself when he knows he needs certain things and he puts himself in an impoverished state, and it's not even necessary. So this is not saying that, he's being wise with his money. No, it is actually a wicked intent to how he's dealing with his finances, or whoever it is, how to deal with it, defrauding themselves of what they're supposed to do. I'm gonna sit in this house with no lights, even though I make $10,000 a month. It's not necessary. But there's people who go to these massive extent, like folks who make a lot of money, but at the same time they count every penny because they want everything back after taxes or whatever it may be. They look, so you can't even go to dinner with them because they like, no, get the $3 soup. Like, hold on, weren't we hanging out? Like, why am I getting a $3 tomato soup and I haven't seen you in years, brother? And you rich now. Like, you supposed to be able to help me out. So there's a level. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with saving money. I love people who know how to coupon and all those stuff, because this is a society where you need to learn how to save your nickels and your dime, because it's a predatory environment. It's a predatory economy that's trying to nickel and dime you on everything. But then you have the aspects where, y'all's like, it's time for you to enjoy. Look what I've done for you. Enjoy the fruits of your labor. I like to see y'all living good. I like to see your children eat. I like to see, and you're not worried about the money because you realize I've provided this for you and I've provided that for you. And I'm able to provide more because you're generous at the same time. So y'all doesn't have nothing, blessing you in certain avenues. But this right here is talking about when you being mean and begrudging. You ain't bought nothing for your wife. You ain't bought nothing for your kids. You don't know how to give good gifts to your children because you're like, nah, these children don't need money. I'm trying to retire tomorrow. Come on now. Continue, brother.
And if he does good, he does it unwillingly. And at the last, he will declare his wickedness.
All right, so let's recap. It says, he that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? He shall not take pleasure in his own goods. There is none worse than he that envies himself. So if he's envious toward himself, he ain't really trying to look towards you. So when you see people like this, you don't need to be in their space trying to ask them for stuff, because they're going to hate you, because guess what? They have an idol that they worship, and it's the idol of riches. And you sitting here trying to snatch that idol down like, hey, brother, can I borrow some? They don't. That's why it mentioned in Proverbs when it was like, watch how you act with that ruler. Although he's putting this in front of you, you don't know if he has that evil eye where he's looking at every nickel and penny that he's spending in your direction. So it ain't really for you to be reaching out your hand to everything. And these are the aspects of wisdom that Yah wants us to pay attention to. What's our company? Who's our company? What mentality are we entertaining? Are we gonna be generous people and not requite back everything that we gave freely to someone, or are we gonna be niggardly to where you can't have no friends because you're begrudging against what they might want from you? Y'all don't want us entertaining that mind, because those things are messing up your perception big time. And in verse 7, it says, if he does any good, it's unwillingly. So now he sees some folk doing something right. He's like, let me try to do it. And he's doing it, but there's some corrupt element in it because he's not doing it with the fullness of heart. It's like, man, all right, maybe I'll ask them for the same thing next week so I can make back up that $20 I might have spent today. These things are corrupt. So you don't even get to make full progress in life because you're spending time trying to count every penny. Or like Brother Mikael has said, you squeeze a penny till there's scream in your hand. Like, come on. You know, so it doesn't allow you to do anything out of pureness of heart.
Verse 8. The envious man has a wicked eye. He turns away his face and despises men.
Ooh, so he has a wicked eye that turns away his face, despises men. He don't even want you to even think about using him to get ahead. Even though you're not even trying to use him to get ahead, you may be in a bad situation, ask for something, but he think, nah, he trying to ask money for everyone, so he might get more money than me. There's people that think petty like that. And you need to know when you sit at folks' table, am I at a home that's going to be receptive unto me? Or am I at a home where I'm going to make sure my peace stays with me and I take my peace with me because there's nothing that's going to be received in this house with the right mentality. And some people are like that. But do we have what it takes? Are we generous enough to show that, look, brother, you don't have to be this tight with everything here. Let's work this out. Let's help this person do this. And are you okay being an example to facilitate someone else learning how to be generous? And are you okay with people scorning you? Be like, man, you stupid, man. You trying to give all that money to poor folk. All you going to do is buy Coke with it anyway. Like, sometimes people will revile you because you're not being as miserly as they are. But you know that Yah provides everything that comes into my account. Yah provides everything that I use, in my territory, in my space. My whole reality is dictated by him. If I want changes, I pray. If it's too hard for me, I pray. If I'm happy, I give thanks. He is an integral element of my day-to-day life.
Let's see. A covetous man's eye is not satisfied with his portion, and the iniquity of the wicked dries up his soul.
A covetous man's eye ain't even satisfied with what he already have. So because you might sit at a table with someone who you look at their house, man, this dude got bread, this dude, but you don't know the evil eye in him. He got low self-esteem as much as he may have. The evil eye in him don't even allow him to give thanks that he got his Bentley in the garage or whatever it is. So you sit at his table with the little that you have, and he trying to take the little bit that you have to satisfy himself. We need to make sure that we can see these things in folk. That, man, this dude would do anything for $1. You don't want to be around that, because guess what? Your life can be on the line for his sake. When you have something that he wants, and he could send somebody that be able to take it from you. And before you know it, that possession you had becomes his possession, and he already had enough. And now you and your family suffering. You're like, how'd I get swindled out of this money? These things happen in every level of society. That's why it's called white collar crime. It happens when they done shot such and such and such for just some shoes. This covetousness is serious, and we need to make sure that we start removing it out of our hearts. And we can start with ourselves and stop trying to be so covetous over the little that we have and not being satisfied with what we have already.
Verse 10. A wicked eye envies his bread, and he is a niggard at his table. My son, according to your ability, do good to yourself, and give Yahweh his due offering.
Hallelujah.
Remember that death will not be long in coming.
Life is short.
And that the covenant of Sheol is not showed unto you. Do good unto your friend before you die, and according to your ability, stretch out your hand and give to him.
Hallelujah.
Defraud not yourself of the good day, and let not the part of a good desire overpass you. Shall you not leave your travails unto another, and your labors to be divided by lot? Give and take and sanctify your soul, for there is no seeking of dainties in Sheol.
All right, so what it's explaining right there is, enjoy your life. It's fine to enjoy your life. It's saying that when you die, all your worries is going to just be transferred to somebody else anyway. It's all going to be passed on. So enjoy a little bit of life while you're here. And Yah's expecting that of us, to give thanks when our cup is running over, and even allow it to run over through good deeds and not through begrudgingness and stinginess and an evil eye. You're not gonna prosper with that evil eye. If you're trying to gain riches based on an evil eye, it's not gonna bless you in the end. It's gonna be your worry day and night. There's people that got millions of dollars on one stock, and they wake up and they think about that stock. They don't even think about their children. They think about that stock. They don't even think about their mom or their dad, how they doing. They don't call. They want to call their broker and say, did we get that 0.001% on the million? Yes. He's going to sleep okay until the next day when he's going to wake up and be like, oh, how my money doing? Y'all don't want us living like that. Y'all wants us to pay attention to the condition of our soul, and he's giving riches its proper portion in our lives. It's not supposed to take over. He's giving it its proper portion.
All right. Verse 17. All flesh waxes old as a garment, for the covenant from the beginning is, you shall die the death. As of the green leaves on a thick tree, some fall and some grow, so is the generation of flesh and blood. And one comes to an end and another is born. Every work rots and consumes away, and the worker thereof shall go withal. Blessed is the man that meditates good things in wisdom, and that reasons of holy things by his understanding.
All right, so that was verse 20, which is also like verse 16. It says, give and take. And verse 16 also says, and sanctify your soul. So take respect in the growth of your soul. You know, put it in high esteem. Don't allow yourself and be okay with being depressed. Don't allow yourself and be okay with being saddened and being hardened and being angry. That's not the condition y'all want a soul to be in, and that's not the condition you should want your soul in. You need to find how and where do I gain peace. And once you allow peace to be your compass, you're going to find yourself sanctifying your soul, because Yah's going to give you a sanctified spirit. That's why it's called the Holy Spirit, or the Ruach Kodesh. Sanctify your soul. Treat yourself good. Put yourself in the white garments you're supposed to be in. Buy the nice bed sheets. Sanctify yourself and put yourself in a nice, in a nicer state, whatever it may take and do. Don't over squander and become set on luxury, because that's just like being drunken. That's just like being a glutton. You don't want that. Yah says in moderation, but at the same time, sanctify your soul and don't allow yourself to fall into these evil eye pitfalls and get stuck on the temporal and not on the eternal.
Verse 21. He that considers her ways in his heart shall also have understanding in her secrets.
All right, notice how the subject has changed here. Now it switches and says, blessed is the man that does meditate. Meditate is like chewing, but for your brain. You That's how the brain, that's how you meditate. You take time and masticate the thoughts of Yah. Meditate, chew on certain thoughts. Is it good? Is generous a good thing? Is it good to show love unto people? How should I treat a spouse? How should I treat my boss? How should I treat these things? You just think about them. I call it active thinking. Meditate on these things day and night. And these things are going to help purge that evil eye. And you start meditating on good things. Blessed is the man that does meditate on good things in wisdom, and that reasons of holy things by his understanding. Go after her as one that traces, and lie wait in her ways. So now Yahweh is giving you what to focus on. He said, don't focus on the riches. Don't focus on the wicked people. Don't focus on material things. Focus on his wisdom, though. Because I'm going to give you about 70 years to focus on this wisdom, because I have more for you after this life. This life is short for a reason. It's not the end all be all. But he's going to know in a short period what type of soul you are. Because he don't want that wicked soul in the next life. He don't want that niggardly man in the next life. He wants a righteous, generous, loving, understanding man that keeps his heart in his right hand and makes decisions based on where is love and where is the peace.
Verse 22. Go after her as one that traces.
Go to 21.
Okay. He that considers her ways.
Considers whose ways?
Wisdom.
Wisdom's ways.
In his heart shall also have understanding in her secrets. Go after her as one that traces, and lie in wait in her ways.
I love whenever wisdom is sensualized, as like you seeking a woman. You know? So then you put that same energy you want to be in being a player. Nah, I'm trying to seduce wisdom. I really want this girl in my life.
Stay with me.
It goes-
I can't keep her with
For
me.
real, like you give me that bubbly feeling in my stomach. I got butterflies trying to chase wisdom. I want your understanding. Baby, come dwell with me. Yahweh has set wisdom before us as an attractive thing, and He wants you to gain it, and the same way, and He did it on purpose to soften us, because the same way that we would want to seduce or woo a woman, like if you focus on wisdom like that, you'll spend the time to deal with your brother in righteousness, because you know wisdom like that. But when you start wisdom like, no, I don't like wisdom trying to escape. She ain't trying to sit in the living room with you. Wisdom over here like stranger danger. I don't know this dude. You want her comfortable to dwell with you. I love it when wisdom is centralized as a woman, because now that's motivating to a man, because you know how we think sometimes. But if you could change that thinking into acquiring wisdom, you'll spend the time, you'll tarry. Some dudes will sit at the club till about 4 o'clock just for this one girl, thinking that she gonna let him come home just to be disappointed. Nah, sit late till 12 o'clock for wisdom to come through. Let the Ruach Kodesh go ahead and pour a little bit more water in your cup or whatever you sipping on. It could be some wine. Just don't get drunk, because wisdom don't like these drunken men, because you don't want you slurring. She like when you wise and you sharp. Wisdom loves these things. And when you read about wisdom, you'll be motivated. I could go on and on and on, because I love wisdom too. She's a beautiful woman.
He that pries in at her windows shall also hearken at her doors. He that lodges near her house shall also fasten a pin in her walls. He shall pitch his tent nigh unto her, and shall lodge in a lodging where good things are.
All right, so wisdom is a safe place. She'll provide a covering for you. She's that woman that you really, really want in your life. Go ahead.
He shall set his children under her shelter, and shall lodge under her branches. But her he shall be covered from heat. By her he shall be covered from heat, and in her glory shall he dwell.
Hallelujah. That wisdom, boy. She is girl. Anyway, let us move on. With the conclusion is going to be Psalms chapter 31. Psalms chapter 31. So we've talked about how to avoid the evil eye, how to make sure that we cultivate a good eye, how to avoid the evil eye in others, what to look for to identify the evil eye in others, how to protect ourselves. And now we're going to read King David's prayer on how the evil eye has affected him and what he has done to stay away from it. And how what he has done and how Yah has delivered him to cultivate a whole single eye that is full of light.
All right. Psalms chapter 31, Tehillim, and verse 20. Starting verse 20.
Now you go ahead and start verse 1.
All right. I will extol you, O Yahweh, for you have lifted me up.
Psalms chapter 31.
That's verse 30. I was reading verse 31. In you, O Yahweh, do I put my trust. Let me never be ashamed. Deliver me in your righteousness. Bow down your ear to me. Bow down your ear to me. Deliver me speedily. Be you my strong rock, for a house of defense to save me. For you are my rock and my fortress. Therefore, for your name's sake, lead me and guide me. Pull me out of the net that they have laid privily for me, for you are my strength. Into your hand I commit my spirit. You have redeemed me, O Yahweh, El of truth. I have hated them that regard lying vanities, but I trust in Yahweh. I will be glad and rejoice in your mercy, for you have considered my trouble. You have known my soul in adversities, and have not shut me up into the hand of the enemy. You have set my feet in a large room.
All right, so you see how Yah is referring. You see how David is referring to Yahweh as his protector. He's talking to Yahweh as a father. And every man needs to make sure they begin to cultivate that relationship with the Most High, because it gives you that next step, that next element. Yeah, in the temporal world, you had strength, but in Yah, you're going to have enduring and everlasting strength, that no matter what they push on you, you'll always be able to overcome and rise above it and have wisdom placed into your mind to know how to go on to that next step, even though everything they're doing is to try to stop you. Go ahead, Aki. Hold on, let me go ahead and mute my side. All right, go ahead.
Just looking at verse 7, it says, I will be glad and rejoice in your mercy, for you have considered my trouble. You have known my soul in adversities. So these adversities that we go through in our lives, this gives this is an opportunity for the Most High to know us, know who we are as a person. What are we going to do? When we get in darkness, are we going to be satisfied with an evil eye and just cry out and complain about being in darkness? Or do we have a good eye that's going to seek the light and try to find my way out and see, well, how did I get in this darkness? What is the purpose? Maybe I needed to be in darkness so that I could learn to be a light, so that I could help other individuals when they come to that darkness find the light. But if your whole eye is darkness, your whole body is in darkness. Everything that you do is not going to produce fruit. It's not going to produce glory unto the Most High. So we got to understand these adversities. These are the things that make us strong. A muscle doesn't get strong by just sitting around relaxing all day or feeling good, getting massaged. A muscle gets strong through adversity, through breaking and pushing itself to the point where it's broken. And that's where the growth is. And this is why the Most High allows us to be in those adversities, so that we can learn to train that eye and say, all right, well, apparently there's some darkness. How can I push that darkness out and increase my eye?
Indeed, Aki. And I think in a manageable sense, sometimes we go through those big crushing adversities, and we have to be able to do it in a way now where y'all doesn't have to bring us to the breaking ones, where we're actually taking the initiative to weed, because any garden, weeds come up, weeds come up, but you have to be diligent, make sure I'll handle this situation, I've handled this situation, I handled this situation. But just like in our body, you spend too much time eating the wrong things, you're going to hit that critical point where boom, your liver just give out, or boom, your kidney just give out. And those things happen to us spiritually, where we haven't been attentive to our soul health, and then boom, something just broke.